Okay, now I don't know how I should start off today's edition because 4-0. Can someone explain to me what really happened yesterday? 4-1-2-3-4. Like, what really happened? Is it that we don't have, aside Victor Osimhen and co, we don't have a B team, a Super Eagles B team? Because what kind of a performance was that? Well, let me keep my nagging for a bit first. Hello and welcome to Talk Sports. My name is Samuel Odi, and I'm not happy because of the scoreline between Sudan and the Super Eagles. Like, waiting, what really happened? Now Eric will come out and tell me he has an explanation, but we'll get to that point where he explained how the team had to lose, that way dramatically. Now, just after 2 games, you're out of CHAN. Can you imagine that? With 0 points, not even scoring a goal. That is just so shameful. But let me rest for a bit because my dear, I won't permit that. I won't permit that. So let me start as always as we look at track and field and athleticism in the world of sports generally, and we'll be starting from the home front as always, as fine margins deny Ofile Ikechukwu glory in Budapest. Favor Ofile and Chukwuebuka Ukwerechi produced commendable performance at the 2025 Cairn Memorial Budapest, but fell just short of top spots in the meeting packed with world-class talent and record-breaking feast. The World Athletic Continental Tour Gold event held on Tuesday drew an elite field across several disciplines, with spotlights on Olympic medalist, continental champion and record holder Favor Ofile and Ikechukwu stood out in a highly competitive contest, while Samuel Ogazi made his return to the international action and Kenisola Ajayi was forced to withdraw from the men's 100 meters. In the women's 200 meters, Ofile matched Jamaicans Ashanti Moore straight in one of the evening's closest finishes. Both athletes clocked 22.31 seconds, but the Jamaican edged the win by the slimness of the margin after the photo finish review. Moore's time was a new personal best, while Ofile's was her season's best, marking an encouraging sign ahead of the championship in Tokyo next month, which is still under consideration due to her pending nationality switch from Nigeria to Turkey. Britain's Dowley completes the podium in the 22 with 22.87 seconds, and with the rest of the field tailing behind, including Mickey Bishops and Netherlands in the 4th place and Ivory Coast Jessica in 6th position. So Favor Ofile's nationality is still pending, but still as it stands, she's still representing Nigeria. So we would see what would happen in the next couple of weeks, because before the championship starts properly in Tokyo, she would finally decide on which country she will be representing. But so far, she is still representing Nigeria, since everything has not been finalized yet. So moving on, AIU suspends US sprinter Carly over some misinformation. Olympic 100 meters silver and 100 meters silver and bronze medalist Fred has been provisionally suspended by the Athletic Integrity Unit for whereabouts failures, and organization says this report came to us saying that the American 100 meters world champ in 2022 plans to contest the allegation that he violated an anti-doping rules. He strongly believes that one or more of his alleged missing tests should be set aside, either because he was not negligent or because of the doping control officer did not do what was reasonable under the circumstances to locate him at his designated location. An attorney for Keller said in this statement via social media, he withdrew from the U.S. track and field trials last month, writing on social media that he was taking some personal time out to get back on track. So that is what he says, and then now he's facing anti-doping challenges based on the fact that the officer who was supposed to track him and do the proper drug test on him wasn't able to come through and make that happen. So now he's being faced with some suspensions and all of that, and if he's been found guilty, he might not be able to run again. So we'll see how all of these investigations will pan out, and then conversations are obviously still ongoing in this light. So moving on, the Tigers begin Afro basketball bid with Madagascar clash. Nigerian quest to claim a second continental men's title in history will begin later today when the senior men's national team, the Tigers, square up against Madagascar in their opening Group B feature at the 2025 FIBA Afro basketball tournament in Angola. The coach, Mohamed Abdulrahman, led side who are making their 20th appearance in the history of FIBA Afro Basketball Championship since the tournament made its debut in 1962, will take on the lesser faced Madagascar's outfit as Lindo Indoor Stadium, Angola, looking to begin their campaign on a strong note as they bid to win only a second African title and the first in 10 years. This clash marks the first meeting between both countries in 14 years, having last faced each other during the preliminary round of the 2011 FIBA African Championship for men, where Nigeria eased to a competitive 112 to 81 victory. Coming into the tournament with Nigeria team faced the usual problem of poor preparation, having only managed setup of training camp in the capital city of Abuja for just a week, leading the West African nation charge at Afro basketball in Houston. Guard George Okigi, who also is present, and then he's one of the players who would be on the roster. So looking at it now, currently as he stands, poor preparation has always been the problem of the Tigers. They were only in camp for less than a week, and then they played a couple of friendly matches with some home-based teams. So we'll see what would happen, because starting off in Madagascar, we know it has evolved 14 years ago. The Tigers, defeated them flawlessly, but this time around we'll see what will happen. We'll give them almost a 20 points gap lead. So we'll see what will happen this time around. Later tonight, we'll be witnessing the action between Madagascar and the Tigers of Nigeria. Are they set to make us proud? We will find out later today, because the Super Eagles B team are obviously not making people smile. Moving on, still talking sports. Now let's talk quickly about boxing, where White House to host UFC cage fight July 4th, 2026. The White House is the White House is set to play host to a mixed martial arts bout on July the 4th next year, the day the United States marks its 250th anniversary of its founding. UFC boss Dana White said this publicly. He says President Donald Trump has been a regular guest at the off-bloodly contest where fighters punch, kick, and grapple with their opponents in a non-holds-bar battle to submissions or knockouts, bringing the brutal combat sport to the center of U.S. political power will mark a historic first. Ultimate Fighting Champs is the largest and the most successful organization in the growing world of MMA, a blend of martial arts discipline like jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and boxing, and also wrestling. Bouts takes place in the 8-side ring dubbed the Octagon, bounded by chains and things. So all of this thing now is just how UFC is getting more momentum, and obviously we all know that Donald Trump is a very, very big fan of UFC and boxing. So we have seen him lots of time, taking out time from his busy schedule to go watch top fights, top bouts, and we'll see how this will pan out. So the fights that would happen on that day is yet to be announced, and the moment that is announced, will definitely bring it up to you, as preparation, like they say, is underway already. Moving on, still Moses Thuram wants to emulate Mayweather. Still talking boxing. Nigerian British heavyweight prospect Moses Thuram says he hopes to emulate the career of Mayweather as he prepares for the biggest test of his career against Daniel White in Saudi Arabia this weekend. The 20-year-old Tate, as one of the sport's brightest young talents, wants to reach the top of the division while avoiding unnecessary punishment in the ring. Mayweather, unbeaten in 50 professional fights, and a reputation for defensive mastery, defeating the likes of Manny Pacquiao and Celio Alvarez and Oscar De Leon, wholly without ever being officially knocked out. And then Nigerian-born Moses now is looking to take on that same part. That means he has so much work to do, and for him to be able to take on that part quickly is if he gets signed to the money team. Yes, to the money team. So the moment he gets signed under Mayweather's promotion, I think it's going to be very easier for him to be able to do that. So facing off Daniel White later this weekend in Saudi Arabia, will definitely bring you updates of that fight as it happens. So we'll see how his career would, would move on from after that fight. So now, the elephant in the room is actually the very big concern now, looking at how Sudan dumped Super Eagles B team out of CHAN after a 4-0 thrashing. Now, this is something that is very, very concerning. Lots of questions have been asked on the social media. Nigerians are reacting at a whole different level. This is very, very concerning. And let me bring you up to speed with the story. Nigerians' hopes of progressing in African Nations Championship came to a crashing halt as Sudan produced a ruthless display to win 4-0 in their second Group D match in Zanzibar. Eric Chele's men already under pressure following a narrow 1-0 defeat to Senegal. In their opening game were dismantled by the Sudanese side that combined physical power with intensive attacking. The result leaves Nigeria bottom of the group with no points and a goal difference of -5, confirming their elimination from the tournament. The tone of the match was set earlier when Sudan began pressing high and forcing mistakes in Nigeria's defensive third. After 25-minute breakthrough came in bizarre fashion as Leonard put through his own net and Abdul Rafiu had struck the post from close range, but his attempt to clear the rebound. So all of this continues. That's just the trajectory of how the match is just, the match just got dismantled, and then the Super Eagles B team lost focus. If you remember yesterday, on the first game, we saw the error that happened defensively, that made Senegal, scored. And not that afterwards they created chances. Before that, they created chances for them to score, but still, nothing happened. Well, before we talk more about this, let me bring you in, just in case you missed the match, let me bring you the highlights of the game that was played between Sudan and Super Eagles before we now